Now, I'm Tebogo Mojafi. I am the Senior Manager in Maritime Research with the South African Maritime Safety Authority. With the Green Voyage project that we are here for, my function is really of being a convener and a project coordinator.
My name is Mizrale Peña. I am with the National Department of Transport and the focal point of the Green Voyage 2050, which is a project by both IMO and Norway partnership. And we have organized this workshop to make sure that we discuss and share ideas with the industry.
Now, the Green Voyage 2050, it's really a project that we, as SAMSA and the Department of Transport, decided that when there was a call for an express of interest, that we thought that it would be a very good platform for us as a country to also advance the implementation and our contribution, at least in terms of the initial GHG strategy, as was agreed at the IMO in 2018, to also assist us to build capacity as a country to ensure that in whatever that we are expected to do in terms of our mandate, we are able to advance that, and we take obviously the opportunities that are being provided by the IMO through the technical cooperation and capacity building programs that they have, and partnerships such as projects like the Green Voyage, which basically is a continuation of the work that as a country we did on the GLOMIP project. The main aim is really to decarbonize shipping, but I think as South Africa, considering our strategic position in the maritime space, it becomes important that we facilitate and also just help the maritime industry at large to say what are those contributions that we can make in making sure that we advance the interests not just of South Africa but also of the region, and also as we are a member of the global world, we should also just make sure that there is contribution as a country in terms of that.
But if I may, gentlemen, just focus on this specific program. I need to understand how it ties up with the broader program of the IMO, and by extension, our own contribution thereto. Here's what I'm asking. The Norwegian government is sponsoring this thing. What does it seek to do, if I may ask you, General
P? The IMO and Norway are sponsoring the Green Voyage program, and in this program there is 10 countries that voluntarily agreed to participate, and the IMO and together with Norway, they intend building capacity in these countries. Let these countries identify some of the programs or projects which contribute towards greening the industry, and South Africa being one of the 10 countries, we assembled these the different stakeholders, and different initiatives were tabled, and we now have to use a process of elimination through which we will come up maybe with 2 or 3 solid projects that we will then start implementing and using the different support mechanisms that the IMO and Norway might bring in. For instance, maybe they can bring in technical experts, they can bring in different types of consultants who will basically beef up the teams that we have in the country already, and we then implement these programs, and they will monitor very closely and assist us where we need any form of assistance.
During the week of this hosting of the World Maritime Day parallel event, you had a session in which you had stakeholders, I'm talking industry here, in the room having a chat. How did that go?
Yeah, the session went very, very well. Maybe as a brief background is that when we showed an interest in hosting or in being a pioneer a country in terms of the Green Voyage in decarbonizing shipping, what drove us is resolution 323 of the MEPC 74, which encourages or which invites countries or member states to seek collaboration between collaboration between the shipping sector and the port to make sure that we work together in reducing shipping emissions. And it's basically what we were here for, to just make sure that we have that round table, bring port and shipping together, so that then we can start brainstorming of what are those tangible projects, as mentioned earlier, that we can take forward as a country, and have the same approach across the board. But I think also what came out of this session, what was also important is to the contribution that we got from the various stakeholders, whereby we did not necessarily had to focus on shipping or in ports specifically, but we were able to even look on the value chain that seeks to work on decarbonizing the value logistics that we are involved in. I think that was very important for us, as it provided us with a bigger picture of how we should go about decarbonizing.
The next question I have is, do you have time frames? That's the first question. Perhaps you could just touch on that, but parallel to that question is the issue of legislation. It's all very well to have all these programs, but do we have the enabling legislation? If we don't, what are we doing about it?
Thanks. Look, we do have a time frame that we agreed upon yesterday during the roundtable discussion, following the presentation of various initiatives by members from the public and the private sector. We have agreed that come the end of November 2022, as South Africa, we want to have already communicated with the IMO on the projects that we have identified as the ones that will basically be the flagships, if I can put it that way, and the industry and the state entities are all keen to support the country's trajectory on the greening side of the vessels. When it comes to legislation, the latest in as far as MAPOL Annex 6 is concerned is that It is in Parliament. It is going through its last phases, and Parliament has made a pronouncement that they want to prioritize this. They want to see it through. So we are crossing our fingers that come the end of this calendar year, not financial year, calendar year, we might have a Christmas bonus through the approval of the domestication of Maple Annex 6. So we are eagerly waiting together with the industry, because the industry has made it clear that they need this legislation so that it empowers them.
I think this is the second final question I have. We work very closely with African countries, but especially those in sub-Saharan Africa. No, I think what I'm trying to reference here are two borders on the Atlantic coast as well as the Indian Ocean. But these are countries like Kenya on this side, and that side it's Nigeria coming down all the way to Namibia. Where I'm at is that we seem to be working very closely with these countries. On the one side, we've got the Benguela Current Convention, which ties us with Namibia and Angola. This side, we have Mozambique, we've got Kenya, and a few other countries going all the way up to the Horn. Here, in this particular venture, we are one of 12 or 10 countries across the world. But I don't know if there is another one in the Southern African region. That being the case, how will this initiative involving South Africa, A, be shared in terms of experiences with the neighboring countries, but especially those that are in Africa on both sides of the coast? Two, how does this tie up with the MTCC?
No, from the point of collaboration with the regional members, we do have a relationship with the MTCC Africa, whereby we are providing a focal point responsibility for the Southern African region. And obviously, once in a while, we do meet and share experiences amongst ourselves. Now, we also, at the same time, have the Benguela Current, as you previously mentioned, which has also really assisted us in terms of bringing together various stakeholders and also just drawing the linkage that we are always considering between the three countries. But we understand again that that work is not the work that we are just doing for Africa or for Southern Africa, but we are a member of the IMO, and whatever that we are doing, it should also be done in the spirit of the global approach.
Any final words, Jim?
Yeah, and you asked about the Abuja MOU and also the Western Indian Ocean MOU. Look, South Africa being at the choke point of marine traffic, we belong to both. The two oceans meet right here in South Africa, in Cape Town. So we are very active in both MOUs, and they help us in terms of monitoring the compliance of the vessels, that they are really seaworthy, and we then don't have to survey all the ships, because some of them would have been surveyed in some of these member countries.
I think from my side, again, it's that we have an understanding that we are trying to achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement. And as we do that, we are cognizant of the United Nations SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. I think much as we have goals for water, for what do you call that? I forgot. The one under the water. Is it the water? Okay. As As South Africa, again, we are aware that there are United Nations developmental goals, your UN SDGs. But I think much as you have like 17 of the SDGs, I think what is really important for us is the 17 SDG. We talk about partnership for goals, and we believe that there is nothing that we will really achieve if we do not partner with the world, with the rest of the world, if we do not partner with private sector as government, and if we are not involving them in terms of the initiatives or programs that we do, we will not be able to achieve that. The challenges that we are faced today, they cannot be solved by just one person, but it really requires all of us to get together to achieve that. And maybe also what is important is also that from the engagements that we have had in line with the NDP 2030, we understand that there is economic issues that we have to really deal with as a country. The triple challenge that South Africa is faced with. But that being the challenge, we also need to make sure that we look at the environment, we look at the economics, because we need to create that balance between the two. So these projects that we are engaging in, it's really to assist us in terms of bringing that balance and making sure that we make our own contributions as the members of the globe.
Reverend Jeffrey, thank you very much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
Really want that.